Hello, this is Jackie from Introducing You to Love, and I just want to take you through a very short video about being single and coping. And I want to first of all start with a very simple sentence, and I want to see how it makes you feel. This video is designed to help you be okay with the possibility of never finding a romantic relationship. So, how does that make you feel? Now, obviously, that my job is to try and help you find somebody that you can have a connection with. But if we could really sort of like home in on that sentence, does it bring a sense of panic? That's not my intentions. My intentions is about giving you acceptance for who you are and breaking the misconceptions that you need to be with somebody else so you can be happy. This is about you finding happiness yourself, and then somebody else that comes along is going to be a bonus to you. So we have challenges. And as a mature person, and I say that because I think I'm still Peter Pan, we all have a past. And for some, that past can obviously bring experiences of either positive or negative. And that can affect your mental and emotional health. And for some, you might have unresolved issues or emotions. And there might be memories that are keeping you stuck. And they then have wounds that you possibly might need to heal. And these create obstacles which influence your decision making and also your self esteem. And that then prevents you from making new connections with other people. Sometimes, you get to the point where you think, I can't be bothered. And especially when you look at the way people do kind of like meet people through swiping on apps, and then you start to build a communication with somebody and then they disappear and then you have to start again and then back and forth, and it can really tire you out. So you think, oh, I can't be bothered with this. I'll just be on my own. It's easier. Now, loneliness can be a real thing when you're single. And it doesn't matter who you are. You know, you can say to everybody out there around the world, I'm okay, I'm okay. And then behind closed doors, we all have moments of feeling lonely, especially when single. Now, the difference between feeling lonely and being lonely is actually when you give it meaning. I am lonely. You, I am, are making it something that you own. So therefore, you give it meaning. When actually, in truth, you're not alone. You've probably got friends, family. It's just you've chosen at that time to feel isolated. And there's lots of different things that you can do to change your mindset. We have things that are called interrupters. And these interrupters can actually change you from one state to another. And that's the good thing about emotional and mental health is everything is transient. You don't have to stay stuck in the emotions that you're feeling. Now we have society, and society is one of those things that gives us this kind of like fantasy of what life is meant to be, especially when you take a look at TV, films, books. They kind of all end with a happy ending, unless you've watched Game of Thrones, where they all get killed off. Uh, um, but there's a blueprint. And I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my blueprint was I went to school. Then from school, you went to college or university. You then got yourself a job. Then you were supposed to meet somebody, get married, have kids, and that was you for the rest of your life. And then suddenly, later in life, no one told you then what? No one told you that that would not be your scenario, your story. And then automatically, because of this fantasy, not fantasy, but because of this blueprint that we've been given, we've broken it. So now we think that we're something wrong with us. And there's nothing wrong with you at all. And I think when you take a look at statistics now, a lot of people are single and they've made that decision, but it can be a hard pill to swallow. Loneliness can grow into hopelessness unless you let it. And we have something that holds us back. In fact, there's two things that can hold us back in life. One is fear, and the other one is confidence. So let's break those down. The first one is fear. Fear comes from something you are saying to yourself that you cannot do or you cannot have. So we tend to use words that can be quite derogative. Um, we sometimes are quite negative about ourselves, negative about situations, and we sometimes come up with what if? What if I never meet the one or my one? And then you start to sort of like, but what if? Now, what if can be either quite a negative or positive if you turn it, what if? What if the possibilities? Or what if? It depends on the sentence that you've decided to put that with, whether it be a positive one or a negative one. The next is confidence. Now, confidence is anything new can make you uncomfortable. And when it makes you feel uncomfortable, it takes you further away from being confident. So, how do we get confident? Well, that comes the more you put yourself in situations out of your comfort zone, out of making you uncomfortable. And I want to give you a scenario. Think about the first day that you're at work. Okay, your first day, you got up, you didn't know anybody, you didn't know what to expect. Did you feel confident at that time? No, you didn't, because you were like going into an environment that potentially made you feel uncomfortable. But over time, because you've then gone through the scenarios, you got familiar with the surroundings, you got familiar with what your workload was, you got familiar with who it was that's around you, you became more confident. And now some of you probably do it on autopilot. When you're single, you don't have to give up on love. Many people have given up on love because of the scenarios of this hopelessness. You get talking to someone and then they disappear, and then you have to go through it again, or you're talking to somebody that isn't authentic on the other end. But you've got to bear in mind that you're denying yourself of something that you want, but that doesn't mean to say you have to give up on life. And you don't have to stop waiting for it to happen. Sometimes action is required. My job, okay, is to help people find and keep love in Berkshire. And I do that by actually asking people to slow down their mindset and stop this scarcity mindset. Unfortunately, because of the way that people have been looking at dating apps, and dating apps are very much a convenience. They're on your phone. You can get hold of anybody 24/7. You also get validation 24/7. But does that make it real? No. And sometimes it's about slowing down, especially when you take a look at yourself later in life, because you've got a lot more going on for yourself, whether it be family, financial, time, commitments, your lifestyle. How is this person supposed to slot into your life now? Now, when you were younger, you probably didn't have any responsibilities. It was very much carefree. You were deciding what you wanted to do together. And so, therefore, somebody coming into your life now is very different from when you were younger. So, my job is hopefully to get people to slow down that mindset. You're meeting a stranger at the end of the day, and you've got to learn to get to know what this stranger is about. And if you suddenly have this huge romantic rush with somebody, the only way up, only way from up is down. So this is about slow and steady wins the race. And it's about being realistic with where you are now and what you want. Now, freedom and calm. Once you find yourself and you find what you want, and that will give you calm within yourself, you may want a relationship, but you do not have to stop living your life in the process. You don't have to put anything on hold. Now, when I first start doing my coaching sessions with somebody, the first thing I do is I want to evaluate where you are now in your life. And I do that with something called the Wheel of Life. And basically, the Wheel of Life is broken down into about 10 areas. But most people only think it's about two, which is your personal and professional. And relationships, in fact, actually only make up one area of your life. So to get a balance in life to help you, that's where we start with any form of coaching session. Now, relationships themselves are broken down into three areas. The first one is your body, your mind, and your soul. So let's talk about those now. Body, self-care. How do you treat your body? Because I tell you what, it's the one thing that's truly yours. You know, when you think about it, I heard the expression the other day, wealth is, what is it? Health is wealth. How do you treat your body? How do you look after it? Are you so busy looking after everybody else that you don't give yourself that time? Are you a bit disconnected with how you are within your body? What is your reaction or to a mirror? What is your reaction to a photo? Do you like what you see? Because honestly, when you're single and dating, people are going to look at you. And if you can't be bothered to look at yourself, or you don't like looking at yourself, then that is going to give the impression your shoulders are down, you're going to be looking at the floor, you're not going to get noticed. And this is about allowing you to have a better connection with self. So therefore, when you go out, you can be more sort of open to the possibility. And you're dating at the end of the day. That means, honestly, when you think back when you were in your 20s and your 30s and you were single, sorry, 20s, maybe even like teenagers, I don't know, whenever you first met your first person and you went out, how much time did you spend getting yourself ready before you went out? I'm sure it wasn't 10 minutes. I'm sure it was like, you spent time getting yourself, you wanted to be the best version of yourself. Unfortunately, because of COVID and life and mentality, we've become very comfortable with ourselves. And we just say, right, I expect people just to accept me the way I am. Well, that's fine, but that's not fair on the person. So you can imagine if you met somebody who just really didn't, pardon my pun, give a shit about what they look like, what they did, or how they are. Do you think you'd want to spend time with that person? No. You want to be with somebody who's going to be giving you the best energy back that you're going to receive. And so you can be the best version of yourself. So when you take a look at your body and your self-care, what do you do with your time and energy to reflect on your body and your self-care? The mind. Now, the mind is a fascinating thing and I love it. We basically have about 60 to 70,000 bits of information a day given to us. You're probably thinking, what? Yeah, luckily, unconsciously, not all consciously, because if we did, we'd be tired. And these basically are things that we've seen, things that we've felt, experiences, memories, all of those different things, but also your perception of something. If I was asked somebody to have a look at a picture, they would notice something about the picture completely that I wouldn't do. And that is all to do with the mind and the personal experiences. But we have something which is called our conscious and our unconscious mind. Our conscious is almost like the screen on the computer. So for me, I've got a computer right in front of me. And the unconscious mind is like the files that are in the back of the computer. And that's your life, if you can imagine. But sometimes when you have things in your life, certain experiences, they've not been filed away. They're still at the screen, but shrunk down. So when an emotion comes along that feels familiar, this just pops back on the screen. And it's important that you allow yourself to potentially timestamp them, put them back to where they were. And, there are certain therapies that I do, IEMT, that helps to basically allow you to find out how did I learn to feel the way I do, and also timestamp certain emotions that you have. So that could be negative memories, that could be PTSD, it could be unwanted emotions. It allows you to basically timestamp something, but your mind is very, very powerful. And just like the body, if you cut yourself, it will heal. So my method of coaching is to actually allow you to have yourself to answer to. I believe that sometimes, the best answers come from you anyway. You might need some guidance on that. And your soul. Your soul, so mind, body, soul. And this is about respect and identity and your core values and your core beliefs. Now, You know, when we go out and we meet somebody new, and the first questions are, what's your name? And what do you do for a living? And as soon as you do that, you then start to make a prejudgment of who this person is. Are they able to afford me? Are they able to give me the lifestyle that I have because of their job? That is not who you are. And that is sometimes people lead by talking to somebody about what they've achieved or their achievements or what they have to show, money, all of those sorts of things. But your identity is, are you kind? Now, unless you're a serial killer, which, most people are kind, they're considerate. They're the things that people want to know about, not necessarily your achievements and who you are. That is part of your history, absolutely, and that can always come later on, but they just want to know who you are and are you authentic. Now, what we have are three things that happen in life that make us either behave in a certain way through action or lack of action. And the first is a thought. Our thoughts, which can be triggered by something. I used to listen to Coronation Street, and sometimes the music used to make me go chocolate. I'm just saying, giving you an example. But basically, we have triggers, and those triggers can be thoughts. Those thoughts then create a movement in our body through emotions, and that then can either make you motivated, demotivated, and that actually affects your behavior. So it's three processes of thought, action, and behavior. Now, we all have something which is called time. And the question is, what do you do with your time? Now, they say there's an 8-8-8 rule. 8 hours should be sleeping, 8 hours should be working, and 8 hours should be recreational. Now, we all know that life has changed and jobs have changed and all of those sorts of things. But one thing with time is yours. It's no one else's. It's what you want to do. How do you want to spend your time? Now, a lot of people spend it giving it over to somebody else, and they forget about how important they are. And this is about you allowing yourself just to stop for a moment and become aware of how you think, aware of how you feel, aware of what's happening in your life, rather than sometimes running on autopilot. And then what you want to do is you want to maybe question some of the patterns that have been happening in your life and think, what can I do to prevent them from happening again in the future? And what evidence do I have that that's true for me right now, today? So whatever it is that's going on, whatever your emotions that are going on in the moment, get a pen, write it down. Now ask yourself, what evidence do I have right now, today, that that's true? Now, things may have happened in the past, but that was the past. That's not today. And you have grown and learned so much, maybe from that time or that incident that ever happened. Stop jumping to conclusions. Now, you're not a septic peg, which means you're not a fortune teller, maybe you are, but you can't predict the future. You can plan for the future. You can say, I'm going to be there at a certain time, but no one can actually predict the future. Something has to sort of like work its way through. So when you start to jump to conclusions, I'm going to be on my own forever, and I'm never going to find somebody, that's all false, because what evidence do you have that that's true? Now, unless you fancy the postman or the delivery guy or delivery woman, they're not going to come knocking at your door. So some action is required. So obviously that is down to you taking some action and working with your time to make it work or make it possible. Friendships are so important. And a long time ago, friendships or relationships was never just one person. It was actually a whole village that used to make a relationship work. And this is why later on in life, you may not fancy everybody. And it's really good talking to the opposite sex because you get to see a different perspective of it. But unfortunately, because of the way that these apps have been, Sometimes you don't want to talk to the opposite sex because you don't want to lead them on. You don't want, you feel like they're creepy, or they think that you're snobbish or offish or whatever. Just having friends with somebody. And actually, the best relationships that you can ever have start with friendship first. So, having friendships allow you to explore the possibilities of different relationships. And it doesn't mean you're solely searching for one person to fill you up. It gives you a chance to feed your mind, it gives you a chance to feed your body, and it gives you a chance to feed your soul. Making and keeping friendships later on in life as you get older can be harder because people have moved away. When you're younger, you probably had a very large social circle, and then through jobs or experiences, your circle's got smaller. Maybe you do have some great friends, but they're in relationships, so they're not at the same sort of level of where you are in your life at the moment. So making new friends is really important and gives you a chance to lighten the load a little bit, and you can get to share some, stories, and you can get to learn from other people. So friendships, are transient as well. And so it's really important that you allow yourself to think not just about a romantic relationship. Think about the other possibilities that could fill you up and make you happy. Strangers might think you're strange or even hitting on them if you are wanting to talk to people. And this isn't the case, especially if you go in with a different sort of mindset. As I said, sometimes this scarcity mindset, if you meet somebody, you're like, oh, I have to make the decision now. Otherwise, they'll go back online and then they'll meet somebody else. Or, oh my God, I feel a connection with this person. I have to hold on to them because, oh my God, I don't want to be lonely for the rest of my life. That's not the case. You know what I mean? And as I said, if you can try and find other ways of filling yourself up emotionally, you won't be then putting everything onto that one person you meet, which is a huge responsibility. Would you like it on you if somebody kind of like came along and just dumped on you? Oh, I don't think I would. Hardwired human connection. Now, when you are hungry, what happens is we will then go get something to eat. When you're hurting and grieving, you might want to cry, and it's okay to cry. When you're tired, your body's telling you, I want to go to sleep. When you're lonely and you're feeling shitty, that's when you need friends. That's when you need the friends around you to fill you up. So friendships are so important. I hear my dog in the background. I do apologise for that. Human connections. Human connections come in many different forms, not just romantic relationships. Who do you spend your time with? Who do you spend your time with right now? Are you the sort of person that gives over your time quite freely to somebody else? Or are you the sort of person that basically um, is not really giving as much time to yourself or to somebody else? When was the last time you did a friends audit? So when you take a look at the friends that are around you, do they fill you up, or do they kind of like make you feel a bit drained? Do you have a friend that when they phone you up, go, oh God, not again. I have to talk to this person. I'm not saying that everybody has friends like that, but sometimes you do. Now we have 6 human needs, and these 6 human needs really come into play when it comes to dating and relationships. And the first one is certainty. We want to feel certain that we're going to meet somebody. Uncertainty. Now, unfortunately, did you know fear and excitement are the same emotion? So if I woke up every single day, certainty, and I had the same thing, I wore the same clothes, I didn't do anything else, I didn't eat anything else, I didn't go anywhere else, I just did the same thing every single day, what do you think my life would be like? It'd be really boring. And I would then get disruptive, bored, and I would then sometimes turn to addictive behaviors to try and make me feel better. So you need uncertainty. You need to be challenged. You need to be taken out of your comfort zone because that's what life is all about. We also have connection. Now, connection is that the need to belong. We want to have a sense of belonging. Personal growth, well, you're taking this today, but we want to be challenged. We want to learn. And I always say every day is a school day, so you learn every single day. We want to feel significant. We want to be, noticed. We want to be validated. We want to feel accepted. And when you're on your own sitting there, that's the part that kind of like feels like you're missing something. And then contribute. We want to give back. Now, when you see fun and laughter, you're giving back. When you see a smile from somebody, it can be contagious. And then also, whatever you do in your life will also help to give back. Time to live your life. You don't want to be the best kept secret. Stop hiding. Yes, you may go through a roller coaster of emotions of 1 minute happy and 1 minute, oh my God. But I tell you what, a little bit later on when you go through it, you actually think to yourself, God, there are some good memories that you can then share. Now, this is where I'd like to help. Board in Berkshire events. I run about 4 to 5 events every single month to try and help people connect. This is a chance for you to meet people of the opposite sex and not feel threatened and not have that scarcity mindset. Do you remember how we used to meet people? Used to go out, just see what happens, and if there was a connection, great. If there wasn't, then just move on. Now, also, when you were younger, did you ever kind of like meet somebody and go, I don't fancy them, I don't like them, and then later on you did like them because you got to know who they are? When you are having dates and you're meeting somebody in that first initial, very awkward, you don't really get to know who that person is. But over a period of time, by coming to events, you get to see people beyond that sort of first impression. You get to see them for who they are. You get to have a laugh and a joke. And, it's just a way. We live in such a turbulent world that actually letting your hair down and having a good laugh. And as I said, there's 4 to 5 different events that you can come to every single month. Now, when you're born pure and innate. Oh, my computer's decided to freeze. When you're born pure and innate. And we only actually had 2 fears. One was loud noises and the other one was falling. Everything else out there has been a learned behavior. And do you know something? If you've learned something, you can always learn something new. So no matter what you're feeling, you always have the opportunity and the possibility to learn something new, but you have to be willing to try. So now it's over to you. I hope you found this little video informative. I offer different services from personalized coaching based around dating and relationships. I'm there for you every step of the journey, from being single, from heartbreak, to kind of getting you to get that emotions back, feeling comfortable to meet somebody else. I'm there to help you to be able to find somebody and also be able to give you that valuable feedback that you're looking for. And then also when you do get into a relationship, if there is any conflict, I'm there to be able to give you a different opinion to it and help you so I have a little bit more clarity. I have a range of I have a new thing called Dating and Relationship Academy, and this is about self-paced workbooks. But for some people, dating and relationship is very personal. I completely understand that. So you may want to just kind of work through things on your own, but then afterwards you might have some unanswered questions. So therefore, the Dating and Relationship Academy is designed to help you. There's a range of self-paced workbooks on there for you. You can then have a look through. Then once you answer your workbook, you can have a one-to-one with me and we can talk through any blocks, challenges that you may be having. Matchmaking. Now, this is about people who potentially are time poor. They haven't got the time to sit there and meet somebody. This is about me getting to really know who you are, what you're looking for, and then helping you actually find somebody. Now, that doesn't happen overnight. So obviously matchmaking is a 6-month process. And in that time, you'll get put, lots of different people in front of you. But also, I'm there to support you for when you do get into a relationship as well, which is probably one of the most valuable, because you're trying to second guess somebody or read somebody and you might not know what that is. So because hopefully I would have got to meet both people, I'll get some really valuable insight and feedback from you both, which means that therefore you're always continually growing and developing, and learning new skills which you can do together. And then obviously my singles board in Berkshire events. Now, a lot of times it is for singles, but you can come on your own, you can come with friends. It's really about just widening your social circle and having some fun. And then the other thing I do is energy healing, which is all about, working with your body if it's feeling out of balance, to get you back into balance. And that's a beautiful treatment, sound baths and things like that, which is a really lovely treatment to do. So the whole range of different things there for you. And the most important thing is you don't have to do it on your own. Dating is only the first part of a relationship, as I said. So I'm here for you if you want, at the very beginning, middle, and end. And there are my details for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, please do reach out and I'd be happy to answer them for you. And I look forward to meeting you very, very soon.